All right, guys, we're back again with another one of these videos. Since the feedback on the last ones that I used to do before on just talking as if like you're sitting across the table from me, this is a different style. I have one of my top students here. His name's Kieran. He just received one of his biggest payouts he's ever had in his trading career, all thanks to the simplicity of the process that I've kind of walked him through. And he's been able to become an independent thinker, an independent trader, and take this process, implement it into the markets, lay on real risk, and have real return back into his pockets. But this is Kieran, by the way, and he's gonna give you a little bit of like a introduction as to his beginning, his middle, and to how he got that payout.
Right, yeah, so like Matt said, my name's Kieran. I'm from near London in the United Kingdom. I've been a trader now for about 2.5 years. The first kind of year was I couldn't put as much in as I wanted to because I just didn't have the time on my hands. So I actually took some of my savings to then move to Southeast Asia to actually really knuckle down on this stuff. So yeah, I was going through prop firm accounts, didn't really have a real edge. I kind of had a slight understanding of the market. So I took a step back from actually purchasing these prop firm accounts and just took 6 months just to knuckle down on the actual process of trading, because my problem was I was trying to chase money, right? And if you're trying to chase money, that's just not how trading works. Because if you actually focus on being a good trader, then that's where you get your real results. So after my 6 months off, I came back to the market. I was kind of in a break-even stage for about 3 months. And then after that, that kind of ended around October last year. And since then, I've received multiple payouts, resulting in about $50,000 and $31,000 for that being in 16 trading days last month, so the month of April.
So basically that whole like journey to the point where like he actually got to that payout, and I know that like his description of his story will relate to each and every single one of you, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm no different to you than you are no different than me. Same thing with Kieran here. Like, we're all the same. We all go through the same struggles in trading. It's just a matter of the fact that you're playing a game against yourself, and the only person that's holding you back is yourself in regards to the trading, because this is all just a mind game. The real reason why you just can't succeed in the business is because you're failing to hold yourself accountable. And now, like, Kieran, what would you say, like, going into that process of like, I'm break even here, what do I need to do to get to that extra push to get to profitability and actually get that payout? So like, what was like that turning point for you?
Right, so the turning point for me was because when you're a break-even trader, you're at a perfect point to then push yourself to profitability, because you don't need to make more trades. It's actually taking away losses which will make you profitable. And the way I did that, so before I joined Matt's Discord, right, I had a good edge in the market. I understood where price was going, but I'd go through streaks of winning, and then the next week I'd lose it all just purely because I couldn't adapt to market conditions. So what I ended up doing is taking Matt's Forever model, simplifying the market, just taking like 5 things that would actually give me an edge in the market, that being bias, liquidity, SMT, internal range liquidity, external range liquidity, and applying that to my own personal trading, which actually led me to payouts before I even knew it.
Yeah, so like he was able to take that foundation and the simplicity behind the model, and then obviously not use it exactly how I do it, but he was able to utilize that as a base foundation, which made sense to him. Now, in regards to trading, this is the beauty of this. Like, there's so many different things that you can learn out there. Like, there's so many different concepts. It obviously can be very overwhelming to a beginner trader when you're coming into this business and you want to learn this sort of stuff. But your job as a developing trader is to have all these pieces of a puzzle in front of you. And what you're doing as you progress and as you move along the journey to get to the point of profitability is you're picking those pieces of the puzzle and putting them together to make sure that it fits a clear picture for you. And that's exactly kind of what he did when he was going through that break even to making consistent payouts. Because what that's going to do is like, you're going to build consistency around one approach. And then after you have consistency around one approach, you're going to build confidence behind the executions of that one approach. Now, you're going to realize that you're coming into these days, you're looking for specific things to happen, for specific things to play out, and if they don't play out, you're not going to do anything, and you're not going to put yourself at risk at like bouncing to a different strategy or like over leveraging yourself or taking too many trades in a day, but like keeping yourself within limitations by only executing when your A plus trade setup presents itself. Now, I'm sure that Kieran, when he was going through like that beginning stage to that break even, obviously, you're going to have a huge like obstacle and one-on-one with your mind when it comes to the point of like, I'm trying this, but it's not working, so I'm going to stop this strategy and then move to the next one. So you're like kind of bouncing back and forth between this strategy to the next strategy to the next. And I'm going to even say that I was at risk to that too in the beginning stages because my biggest flaw was social media. If I took a losing trade, I would go and run to social media and be like, if I lost and I see somebody else on social media, they won, what am I doing wrong? And then I would immediately switch up and I'd be like, I need to do something else, or I need to add what they're doing into my strategy. But in reality, if I just stuck to what I was doing before, I could have realized that today was just a low probability day for me in regards to my checklist. That doesn't mean that I need to automatically switch because somebody else won and I lost. Because down the line, if I win, that same person that took the win when I lost, they could take a loss when I win. So that whole thing kind of lines itself with each other in regards to staying consistent with one specific set of rules that will build you confidence in your executions to really building a massive pocket for you in regards to these payouts, which is exactly what Kieran went through. So I know a lot of you guys are probably asking like, okay, Kieran, how did you get that massive payout? How did you do all of this from Apex? Now, let's start off like from the beginning and like I guess the process as to how you were able to acquire 20 funded Apex accounts, or what was your process to passing these evaluation accounts?
Right, so my process was, to start with, I waited for a sale with Apex. It's very affordable. It's 80% sale off, so you pay about, $20 for an account? And I trade the 50K accounts, right? And the reason I do that is because they have a $2,500 trailing drawdown and a $3,000 profit target. So the actual risk to reward is way better than the higher accounts, in my personal opinion. I know people have great success trading bigger accounts, but as a beginner trader, I feel that that is the best option. So the way I went about it is I took small amount of my money that should be in your range of affordability, and so I managed to eventually pass 4 Apex accounts. And I do this by putting pretty high risk on, but remember, you can only do this when you know you're ready, and that's a question you've got to ask yourself. No one else can answer that. So once you know you're a profitable trader, you've had good success, then you can go a bit risk on with the challenges purely because they are affordable. And just remember, they're affordable to buy, but once you actually pass the account, you've got a bigger activation fee. So if you're not ready, then honestly just don't bother, because you're just going to go through accounts, pass them quick because you've got high risk, and then you can activate them, and before you know it, you've lost all your money and you're just back at square one.
Before you continue, what did you do before you were buying these accounts? Were you demo trading? Were you paper trading? Were you doing anything before this to know you were ready to do those evaluation accounts?
Right, so the way I look at it is, so to start with, I was obviously blowing accounts like all of us do. We all go through the same journey. We all know this by now. So what I did, like I said at the beginning, I took a step back and I just applied myself to 6 months just to grind hard and just put myself in a position where I know I have an edge in the market. And during that time, it doesn't mean you can't trade evaluations, because at the end of the day, like, if I look at my demo account now, I've turned 100,000 into 600,000 in the last 6 months. It's easy to trade demo because there's no emotional attachment to it. And the further you look into the technicals of trading, the technicals become 10% and the emotions become 90%. Whereas at the start, it's the complete other way around. So the way I actually went about it is I actually purchased 5K accounts with fivers. I believe they're about $50. And I just traded them low risk, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's only a 5K account, but if you manage to make 10% return on these accounts and you get a $500 payout, that puts you in the position to buy a 100K account. So you're also educating yourself, and you're also putting yourself in a position where you can get bigger funding. So once I kind of had good success with that, got a small payout from smaller accounts, I then took the step forward to invest that into slightly bigger accounts, and then I got a relatively small payout from them accounts, and with that money I just scaled up and scaled up and scaled up, and before you know it I was trading 20 accounts with a trade copier, making £30,000 days.
Now, was that any sort of difference between trading the 5K accounts compared to the 20, 50K accounts? Was there a differentiation and like a shift of your emotions when you went from trading such a small amount of allocations to a much larger amount? Was there a differentiation at all?
There was obviously a slight differentiation because you're trading bigger capital, and like we're all human, we know we're trading bigger capital, so of course the emotions can be higher. But I believe I was at a point where it didn't really matter what capital I was trading. I knew my edge, and I've got accountability. So if I knew I was doing something stupid, I'd just turn the laptop off and then go on to the next day. And that is so important because there's so many good traders out there that probably have been in a similar position and then lost all their accounts and given up, and they could have like $100,000 months by now and they're back working their regular job.
So you would say that accountability was probably one of the biggest factors to keep yourself afloat?
100% accountability. That's honestly, once you have an edge in the market, accountability is the 90% you need to actually keep your accounts. Because if you're not accountable, then like there's no point trading, because trading's it's a personal career. No one else is here to hold your hand. So if you're not accountable, no one else is being accountable for you. So if you're not accountable, you're just going to lose all your accounts and repeat the cycle, and then eventually you're just going to give up. And without accountability, I know 100% I'd have lost all my accounts by now, and I'd be back at square one, might have given up trading, who knows.
It's literally just, that's the biggest thing too, and I could 100% test this. Like, that is 100% the biggest flaw that a lot of you guys have with your trading, is you are failing to hold yourself accountable and just keeping yourself within limitations of a day, of a week. Like, I'll tell you right now, like, already what mine is. Like, into a day, if I take 2 losses in a day, I'm done for that day. If I take 4 losses in a week, I'm done for that week. And with those limitations that I keep myself in, I have had the ability to hold Apex accounts or these profit accounts for over 160 trading days. And not many people can say that they've done that. But that just shows you the power of literally keeping yourself disciplined, following your rules. If you could do that, you'll always keep yourself afloat. Just the matter of the fact that you are literally only going to fail if you're spiraling out of control, you're going outside of your checklists, and you're just not following the rules that you said you were going to follow going into the day. It's like literally just lying to yourself blatantly, which is the whole reason why you're failing. And on top of that, the other reason is just journaling overall. You take a stupid trade, you don't journal it, you forget about it, and then you do the same thing again the next day, and then you do the same thing again the next week, and the pattern repeats itself, and then you keep staying at a net negative, or you keep staying at a break even, because all you're doing is running in circles, or if not, just digging yourself into a deeper hole. Like, that's just a massive thing in regards to really pushing yourself to that next level where you want to be at. Now, we went over the beginning stages and we went over the break-even stage. Now, you're at this payout stage where, like, you're getting consistent payouts and all that sort of stuff. So, like, as of right now, is there any sort of, like, shift in your mental game? Is there any sort of, like, tips and tricks that you can kind of give the viewers or everybody else that's kind of in that stage that you were at before? Like, what was that, like, what is something that they could do now that could really keep them at a consistent pace to stay away from a break even?
Right, so honestly, the best advice I've ever heard myself and could give anyone is just focus on trading. Don't focus on making money. If you want to focus on making money, go get a job, because you know exactly what you need to put in and exactly what you're going to get out each month. There's no guarantee in trading. So until you start focusing on being a good trader, you're not going to make any money. Like, go through Matt's YouTube. What are the titles? It's how I made X amount of money using the forever model. There's always a process involved to get your output. So look, I can request more payouts now, but I'm not going to, because I'm focused on being a good trader and I want to build up a buffer in my accounts. So there's no point taking the money, because that's a byproduct of being a good trader anyway. That's going to come. So I don't care about withdrawing money now when I can protect my capital by building a buffer.
Exactly. So he already knows his edge. and he's confident in his edge, and he's holding himself accountable by keeping himself within limitations to where he knows he's not going to tilt. He knows where he's not going to give his money back that he earned, because proven over the past 6 months to the year's time that he's been doing this, and the real struggles that he went through to really like hone in and lock in, he has a level headspace to where he knows his edge can really build him a nice hefty wad of cash in his pocket over time. And obviously some people have different views behind that, but this is what he's confident in, so he's going to keep on doing it, and it's obviously working. And this could literally be the same sort of scenario that you could have too. Like literally, we're all the same people. We all have the same mind. It's just a matter of the fact that how do you handle your own mind? Now, handling your own mind and mastering that is a true masterpiece. But I've been working with Kieran for literally like quite some time now. Honestly, it's been over a year at this point. But he's really just developed into such a monster and a demon, and just watching months go by and the progression as to how he's really implemented the model, the foundation, everything, and just watching him stick to it over time and then seeing the progress over time, it's a beautiful thing. And it just makes me very happy that such simplicity can be implemented into these markets and then just yields you this insane reward that literally just happens before you know it. Like, it's just the most amazing thing, because trading is obviously the most difficult profession that anyone could ever go through, because you're going through to the depths of hell and then climbing your way out of it. And once you get out, the literally sky is the limit. And it's just fucking sick to see somebody take my approach and fucking run with it, because I know that Kieran's going to do fucking insane numbers in due time. And he's still so fresh. Literally still so fresh. Like, how deep are you into this right now?
So I started looking at trading about 2.5 years, two and a half years ago, but I didn't have the time to put my 100% in. So that's when I took my initiative to then go to Southeast Asia, where I managed to put a lot more time in. And obviously I did this in the space of about a year, right? I was over living in Southeast Asia for a year. So don't compare your journey to mine. Just because I did it in a year, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to, because I'm sure a lot of you guys, most of you guys probably have jobs. So you only have X amount of time. I was sat in a hotel room, it was 30 degrees outside, and I was working for 12 hours a day. I didn't even have a tan, and I was in the most beautiful parts of the world. So that's the sort of discipline you need to make it in this game. And don't try and skip steps, because Matt's got a really good analogy. If you try climb a set of stairs and you start skipping steps, eventually you're going to trip up and you're going to slide right back down to the bottom.
Yep, that's an absolute fact. And literally, I know that a lot of you guys think that like trading can be an easy way out, or like at least think that it's fast money. Don't get me wrong, it really is fast money, because all you gotta do is click a button and you make X amount of money in just the matter of a singular day, a couple of days, or a week, whatever it is, swing trader, intraday trader. But you just make one day can literally, like, just skipping some steps, going past your checklist, one singular day can literally wipe out months, if not years, of gains. And that's something that you guys need to realize and understand. And that's also that accountability factor that we are pressing on so much and saying how it's the most important thing in regards to your trading. But Kieran, I think this was a phenomenal interview. And I think that everything that he said, I really want you guys to resonate with this, because I know that a lot of you are in that stage of either you're a beginner or you're right at the brink of profitability, at that break even. And all you need is that, just that little extra push. And if you get that, you'll actually be an unstoppable beast. But Kieran, brother, thank you again for everything. Interview, so sick. Now, just subtle, like, if you guys do want to work with me one-on-one in regards to what I've been doing with Kieran, that's going to be an announcement that I'll have at a further date. So just stay tuned for that. I'll have it announced most likely on my Instagram. So just make sure you're following me with notifications on in the description below. But if you want to hear any other sort of interviews in regards to the students and like their success stories, I would love to do this. But thank you guys for tuning in. Much love, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.